Winning now versus development. It's always a tricky balance. Obviously, when you're competing, when you're playing matches and tournaments, whether you're 12 years old, 16 years old or 30 years old, you want to win. Everybody wants to win. Coaches want their players to win. Parents want their kids to win. Winning is fun. But you have to ask yourself the question, are you winning at the expense of development? And you have to at some point make decisions based on what makes sense, what is in line with your goals. And if you want to really become the best tennis player that you can be, then it's going to be about developing a game that can take you to that place and to become better. So you have to always be aware of that balance. Now, obviously, winning is important. We have to learn how to win. We have to develop a winning mindset. We have to develop a winning habit. So as a young player, you want to have a certain amount of winning taking place. So that, again, comes down to the level at which you're competing, staying a little bit more maybe within your age group or within your area or nation before you go further afield, so that you do develop those sort of winning skills and the mindset to find solutions to win matches and things like that becomes a bit of a habit and an art form, a skill. But it's also important to balance that with development. And obviously, if you're a younger player, you've got more time in front of you. You need to be looking a little bit more long term. You have to be looking at your game. You have to be looking at what are the areas that I need to focus on to make me better in the future. And then if you do go ahead and put a little bit more emphasis on the development side of things, you have to have that understanding or acceptance that it does have an effect on the winning now part. And sometimes we see parents get a little bit upset with their kids if they're losing matches or they lost to someone that they beat last time and they think that it's not good, but they've changed something technically on their forehand and they're trying to make a longer term improvement. So it's important that everyone's on the same page, coaches, players, parents, managers if you're in that situation, so that you know what your current objectives really are. And within your scheduling of tournaments, you can always have periods of time where your focus is winning now. I want to win more matches, learn to win, I want to improve my ranking, I want to put myself in a good position for next year by winning a certain number of matches and improving skills and ranking points and things like that. Then there's going to be periods of time where you say, okay, I'm going to go up an age group, or I'm going to go to some tournaments that I'm in a more uncomfortable environment, on different surface that I'm not as comfortable on, or putting yourself in situations where you're making it more difficult for yourself to win, but you're sort of forcing yourself to develop areas of your game in that process. So again, it's finding that balance, and then it's also making sure that the communication between everybody is good, so that you don't run into situations where you lose a match because you've been doing the right things to try to develop your game, and then a parent or someone is unhappy with the result because you lost, when they weren't really buying into the development taking the priority. And we see that too with players that want to leave academies, or players that split up with coaches because they say, well, I'm not winning, or in the last 6 months I haven't won very much. And they don't always take into consideration that, well, you didn't win that much, but maybe you've been working on things and you've been improving things in your game, and you haven't quite translated those improvements to the match court yet. But when you do, your level is going to go up and you're going to start to win a lot more. So there's always that sort of trade-off between the two things. And I think when you're a developing player, you should always have that focus a little bit to the future. It's not the most important thing if you're winning right now. It's more important if you're developing in a good, healthy way to move forwards and become the best you can be in the future. It's interesting that there's a lot of research and different things been published about having a healthy win-loss ratio, sort of a 2-to-1 win-to-loss balance, so that players have that sense of both things. You're getting the winning now part, and you're learning to win, and you're losing enough matches that keeps you in check and keeps your focus moving towards where do I need to improve, what do I need to do better, and what things do I need to really focus in terms of a development perspective. So I challenge you to put some thought into where you are now and what's important. Is it winning now? Is it developing? And try to make room for both things within your tournament schedule so that you can have a nice healthy balance.